What's going on YouTube? It's your buddy Will from the What's Up in the Sky 37 channel. We're online at www.whatsupinsthesky.com, and I've been here for about 4 or 5 days. I've been getting ready for the Mikey Jam Fest we have every year in Chestertown, Maryland. If you're around Chestertown, Maryland, you're invited next Saturday at 2 p.m. to 6. Basically what we do is we host a jam session in honor of my buddy. He's a fallen buddy. He died about 6 years ago. We founded our band together, Energy Field, and he just got done graduating school from Loyola University. And what we've done is every year we've basically made a music scholarship. He graduated from like the music program down there. So the music scholarship, we've got about $80,000 in there now. And basically what we do is we give away a couple thousand out of the interest every year to a senior who's just at that last part where they spend all their money. You know, they still got to buy hard drives, they got to buy instruments, they got to buy cables. So we try and get their books, something. We give them a scholarship for that money. Whatever they need, they can get for that last part to get through school. And it's been great so far. MikeyJonesMemorial.com. You can find out more about it. I always have it in my link in descriptions. I always try and plug that just to put it out there. It was a good dude. So back with space news. That was the first thing I'm coming back with. I've got so many pictures to get done, anomaly ones. I've got so many on Mars. I've got the moon. I've got Jupiter's moons. I've got Saturn's moons. I got all sorts of stuff coming. So keep tuning in. We're gonna be finding stuff. Also got a new video coming out, top 7 awesome space anomalies. Look for that here in the future. Trying to get something we can share out with the general public that can kind of like lure them in to the website or lure them in a little bit, and then they say, oh, well, what's this thing here, and start learning about the pictures and stuff. So stuff that you could share on, say you don't share Mars pictures on Facebook or something because you don't know what your friends would think. This would be something you could share that if they make their way to the site, then they might find or be schooled a little bit in, what we believe here, or, and all of us believe something different. So what I believe, basically, well, I see what I see, you see what you see. So 2020, new rover going up. It's going to look just like Curiosity Rover. Basically, you can take a look at it here. The cameras are going to be upgraded a little bit from what they say. I still think they've got better cameras, better shots are coming down than the 1028 by 1028 we get now from the Rover. And they're not even in RAW format. They always say RAW images on the website, but this thing's pretty cool. This is an artist concept, and they basically let people decide. They took, I think, 50-something. We gotta read the article. They took recommendations about what to send with the rover on to these instruments here, because they want to there's a lot of good stuff that they picked too. All right, the next rover NASA will send to Mars in 2020 will carry 7 carefully selected instruments to conduct unprecedented science and exploration technology investigations on the red planet. NASA announced that selected Mars 2020 rover instruments Thursday at the agency's headquarters in Washington. Managers made the selections out of 58 proposals received in January from researchers and engineers worldwide. Proposals received were twice the usual number submitted for instrument competitions in the recent past. This is an indicator of the extraordinary interest by the scientific community in the exploration of Mars. The selected proposals have a total value of approximately $130 million for the development of the instruments. So basically, people put forward their what they thought would be good to do, and what they picked was pretty cool. And we'll look in depth here in the next article about one. They're going to be trying to make oxygen. And basically this talks a little bit more about the Curiosity rover and about how this is the next step to 2030 when we're looking to actually put some people up in space. Let's see. The 2020 rover will help answer questions about the Martian environment that astronauts will face and test technology they need before landing on, exploring, and returning from the red planet. See, we've got plans to go there and come back, So the selected payload proposals are Mastcam Z, an advanced camera system with a panoramic and stereoscopic imaging capability with the ability to zoom. The instrument also will determine mineralogy and the Martian surface and assist with the rover operations. The principal investigator is James Bell, Arizona State University. SuperCam is an instrument that can provide imaging, chemical composition analysis, and mineralogy. The instrument will also be able to detect presence of organic compounds in rock and regolith from a distance. The principal investigator, I'm not going to say the principal investigator, so the Planet Instrument for X-ray lithochemistry, an X-ray fluorescence spectrometer that will also contain an imager with a high resolution to determine the fine-scale elemental composition of the Martian surface materials. Pretty cool. Scanning habitable environments with Raman and Lumoscience for organics compounds. Sherlock. A spectrometer that will provide fine-scale imaging and uses of ultraviolet lasers to determine fine-scale mineralogy and detect organic compounds. So we're going right after the organic compounds. So things that people see exactly what they're going to go find. So sometimes I wonder if this is all a ruse because you've heard of the secret space programs. You have heard of anything here in America where they say that we've got technology to we could take ET home and come back. So maybe we've been to Mars. People like Andrew Bastiago say we have. He's the attorney out of uh, out of Washington State. He says he was in programs that utilized jump rooms, like quantum jump rooms that would jump you from Texas somewhere to on Mars and back. And there was all sorts of people in there. And a lot of people say the guy's a lunatic. A lot of people enjoy his research. I'm just up in the air with him. He's just another researcher to me. I'm not going to think either way. So back to this, the Mars Environmental Dynamics Analyzer Media, a set of sensors that will provide the measurements of temperature, wind, speed, and direction, pressure, relative humidity, and dust size and shape. Wow, that's pretty cool. The radar imager for Mars, so this is cool. RIMFAX, a ground-penetrating radar that will provide centimeter scale resolution to the geological structure and subsurface. Now that's pretty cool. So that's what they've picked about it. Now they're also going to, here we go, they're also going to pick a couple other things. And let's see here. This is another one that they did pick here as oxygen generating Mars rover to bring colonization closer. They have this little machine that they're bringing out with them. It's going to try and make oxygen. It's pretty cool. Most of the seven instruments, the ad gets hit. Most of the seven instruments for the six-wheeled robot, which is scheduled to launch towards Mars in 2020, are designed to help scientists identify and sample rocks that may harbor evidence of past life on Mars. NASA officials announced Thursday. Okay. All right. But one instrument aboard the 20 rover will generate oxygen from the red planet's atmosphere, demonstrating technology that could both keep astronauts alive on Mars and help them launch into space when it's time to go home. This is a real step forward in helping future human exploration of Mars by being able to produce your own oxygen on the surface of Mars. Michael Meyer, lead scientist for the Mars Exploration Program at NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C. Breathable air and rocket fuel. The instrument is known as MOXIE. It will pull carbon dioxide from the thin Martian atmosphere, which is composed of about 96% CO2, and turn it into pure oxygen and pure carbon monoxide. This is essentially a fuel cell run in reverse. That the CO2 is often produced a product of fuel cells which generate electricity from fuels such as hydrogen. NASA has made demonstrating this capability a key priority as the agency aims to put boots on the ground in Mars in 2030s and wants it pioneering human outposts to be as self-sufficient as possible. Of course, what this would allow us to do is to have oxygen for fuel or have it to breathe. There's got to be other ways to make it as well there. Like if you saw Mission to Mars, I thought they had a really good idea. Some of the greenhouses and stuff for food, want to make the little sustainable bubbles. In the future manned mission, astronauts would breathe some of the oxygen produced on the red planet, but much of the gas would be stored for use as an oxidizer, helping burn the rocket fuel that will launch the spacecraft from the surface of Mars back to Earth. Future experiments may even attempt to generate rocket fuel itself, methane, for example, from Martian materials. But the first step before we go pursue all of these things, let's take one of those like fairly simple that can fit on this package, can fit on the rover, said Bill Gerstenmaier, Associate Administrator of the Human Exploration and Operation Mission Directorate at NASA headquarters. Well, that's a title right there. Boy, let's see some of what efficiencies are. He added, let's understand, is something that we're really missing in the Martian environment that drives this in a different way? Let's see what we can do with oxygen first, then we'll plans for the pieces as they fit together. That's, pretty smart. So, if all goes according to plan, Moxie will produce about 22 grams of, or basically 0.78 ounces of oxygen per hour and will operate at least 50 different Martian days during the course of the mission. Part of the objective is to show that as a factory, if you will, we can continue to operate at full or near full capacity over the duration of the mission without degradation. While establishing an oxygen factory on Mars may seem ambitious enough in its own right, Hecht has even bigger dreams. Our vision of human Mars mission starts with landing a small nuclear reactor and a scaled-up version of MOXIE, 100 times scale, he said. By the time the crew gets there, the reactor will be operational, the oxygen tank will be full and ready to take them home. So, what do you guys think about that? That's pretty cool. We're slowly getting up there, and that's if we put all the, we already have this technology aside, which a lot of us have done the research. It does seem we have We have a lot more technology than we believe here, just as normal citizens. So it's just that was last week's news right there. I wanted to get that out last week, but I didn't get a chance to make the video. So after 2 years on Mars, NASA's Curiosity rover aims for a huge mountain. 2 years ago this week, much of the world held its breath as rocket-powered sky crane lowered NASA's huge Curiosity rover to the surface of Mars on cables. The bold and unprecedented maneuver worked on the night of August 5, 2012, eliciting high fives and raucous cheers from the mission control at the JPL laboratory in Pasadena, California. Curiosity has ridden this wave of enthusiasm for 2 years now. The rover made landmark discoveries in its first few months as operation, helping to reshape scientists' understanding of Mars while barely straying from its landing site inside the 96-mile-wide Gale crater. And mission team members are excited about what the future may hold as Curiosity gets closer and closer to its ultimate science destination, the foothills of the 3.4-mile-high mountain called Mount Sharp. The main goal of Curiosity's 2.5 billion mission is to determine if Mars has ever been able to support microbial life. The rover found some hints pointing towards the past habitability in September 2012 when it rolled through an ancient stream bed that the mission scientists probably flowed continuously for more than 1,000 years ago. And Curiosity sealed the deal a few months later after drilling into rock on site called Yellowknife Bay. Analysis of the drilled samples revealed that Yellowknife Bay was indeed a habitable environment billions of years ago, likely featuring benign water enough to drink, mission team members said. Further studies suggest the area was a lake and stream system that may have been able to support simple life forms for millions of years at a time. All right. Curiosity has not actually found signs of life. It was not designed to do such work. Yeah, right. Just the pictures alone, it's done plenty of work and it's done its job. Making such big discoveries so soon wasn't a bit of a surprise to the rover's handlers. Scientifically, Gale Crater, and especially the plains around Mount Sharp, have exceeded any of our expectations. The place is just covered by water on and off again throughout its history. That's something we never anticipated based on the information we had only from orbit. Well, that was before they landed, and that was with the other rovers too. There have been some unpleasant surprises as well. However, the rough terrain inside the Gale crater has taken coal. And yeah, that's what I was about to say before. Yeah, they're going to have to send this up with some new type of wheels because this is screwing the pooch right here. Has taken a toll on Curiosity's wheels, which later the last year begun accumulating nicks and dings at a worrying rate. It started out to be very concerning, to the point where we were just really shut down operations for a few weeks to kind of catch our breath and understand what was going on. Yeah, sure, that's what they were doing. Um, but after spending a month studying the Red Planet terrain, performing simulated drives at the JPL Mars yard, and practicing different driving techniques with Curiosity, driving backwards sometimes, for example, the rover operators think they have things under control for now. It's a problem, but something we can manage and make through our mission exactly how we want to make it. Looking ahead to Mount Sharp, while the Curiosity rover was pretty sedentary during its first year on Mars, it has been making serious tracks to number 2. Yeah, it was just basically sitting there. It's been moving now. The robot has driven a total of 5.6 miles since touching down on the Red Planet, and about 5 of those miles have come since it's departed Yellowknife Bay from Mount Sharp in July of 2013. It's been rolling for a year. The target location is the mountain base still lies 2 to 2.5 miles ahead. Basically, we're getting there, and the team plans to get there by the end of 2014. The plan calls for Curiosity to climb up through the mountain's foothills, which likely preserve a record of the red planet's transition from a relatively warm, wet place in the ancient past to the cold, dry world it is today. The hope is that we can traverse these rock layers and read Mars like a history book, going from the earliest time period where we see some evidence for clays from orbit to sulfates to this dusty layer on top we might represent in modern conditions. What we can do is place one habitable environment that probably represents a snapshot of time into the context of all the history exposed in Mount Sharp. We can also look at whether there was time periods before or after, or multiple time periods that were also habitable environments. Curiosity doesn't have to submit Mount Sharp to get a good read on Martian history. Mission scientists want the rover to make it up to at least the sulfate layers, which apparently begin at about 1,300 to 1,640 feet up the mountain. So this, if you look at the pictures of Mount Sharp, it looks like there's a road that goes right up into it. And it looks like there's buildings and stuff up there as well. But that's where we should be going to. I mean, it looks like you can even get around where the real soft layers is that, thing might sink. Some of that stuff is so sandy. We talked a little bit here about the 2012 Mars. So basically, that's 2 years it's been rocking and rolling. It's here already. And a couple more things for you. I won't do all of them on here, but we got a couple good ones still. Let's say this is a little bit longer news than usual, but hopefully you guys are hanging in there with me. Rosetta probe makes historic comet rendezvous Wednesday morning. Watch live. If you watched my last space news, we talked a little bit about Rosetta and what its mission was. And basically, after an epic long decade-long trek across the solar system, the European Space Agency's Rosetta spacecraft will finally catch up to its target comet early Wednesday. If all goes according to plan, Rosetta will become the first probe ever to orbit a comet, and you can watch the historic rendezvous live online. Rosetta is expected to meet up with Comet 67P at 4:45 a.m. Wednesday with a crucial 6.5-minute long engine burn propelling the spacecraft into the comet's orbit. You can watch a live webcast of it all here at space.com beginning at 4 a.m. That's Eastern times, basically courtesy of the ESA. Once Rosetta is the gravitational grip of the comet, the spacecraft will execute a series of triangular loops around the comet. Each loop will be about 26 miles long and take a few days to complete, mission officials say. This thing's pretty cool. What's going on? Let's see if here's the loop it's got to make. And there's a good video on space.com and a couple of the other websites with the mission here that shows like what it actually had to do to fly there, how it had to swing around different planets and come back. And it's been a pretty amazing trip. So you can watch that on the video below. All right. Basically what it's planning on doing, there's a, let's see if it talks here. Rosetta has since performed a series of, okay, here we go. I'll keep reading here. Rosetta blast off from, hit pause real quick. Sorry about that, phone rang. All right, here we go. So when Rosetta reached Jupiter's orbit in 2011, ESA engineers put the spacecraft in a deep space slumber that lasted more than 2.5 years. Rosetta woke up in January this year for the final phase of its journey to Comet 67P, which is about 2.5 miles wide and takes roughly 6.5 years to complete one lap around the sun. So basically, this thing's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be there. It's going to actually try, once it's there, sometime at the end of this year, it's going to try to take this little, like this lander here. Rosetta is also carrying a lander called Philae, that's how you say that. It's expected to touch down on the comet in November to take samples and study the comet's surface and composition. Comets are some of the oldest celestial in the solar system, and ground observers have related these icy wanderers are rich in organic material. Comets have pummeled Earth throughout during the planet's infancy and could have brought essential ingredients for life. So interesting stuff, especially this. Now, I wonder if they're going to be able to do it. That's a hard task right there to try and land something on a moving comet. We'll see what happens. Also, this was talked a little bit about this last one. I don't think I did get a chance to talk about Rosetta last time. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't. Talked a lot about this. NASA prepping Mars probes, rovers for close comet flyby. The comet, what is it, Sliding Spring is approaching. It's basically the same time Maven's rolling in, and you've got the India's Mars orbiter mission rolling in. A NASA team, you got the Indian team. They're going to be getting in there sometime in late September, 21st, something like that, and the 24th. And this comet's coming around on October 19th. You can watch here, look a little bit about it here. It talks about how they're trying to get the comets, or they're trying to get everything in case the coma actually hits Mars, or some of the dust from it does. I talked a lot more about it in the last video. Check that out. I thought this was just kind of cool one here. Give your dead pet a cosmic send-off. They'll come up with anything nowadays. The death of a pet can be traumatic. The little dog, cat, hamster, goldfish, certainly in my case, rabbit was too. Varying degrees, a part of the family. So it seems only fitting that suitable send-off should be chosen when our pets take the afternoon nap for the last time. But you can forget digging a hole for Nibbles, Chester, or Fido in that ever-expanding backyard pet cemetery. Oh God, I know about that. There is a far grander idea that there will be neighbors talking. Launch your beloved pet into outer space. SpaceX giving dearly departed ride to Final Frontier. Celestis is a private space flight company with a difference. Since 1995, it has been sending payloads on suborbital and orbital trips into space with cremated remains of humans used in a variety of launch providers. No, it's not some obscure experiment. Relatives of deceased can choose any one of the several send-offs options, including rocket-powered memorial. Today, Celestis has expanded their service into including apps called Celestis Pets, and now you can even send your family pet in Armstrong and Aldrin's footsteps by launching them to the moon. All right, guys. Last but not least here, alien smog, how pollution could help locate ET, talking about how seas could actually help us find more life on out there. So I'm not going to read that one to you. I'm going to leave it in there because it's an interesting article. And once then, I want to thank. We got a new researcher today, random guy research. I saw one of his videos online, asked him if he wanted to join what'supinthesky.com, and he said he's sure. So he put his first article up today with his first 2 videos he did. Great researcher, glad to have him on board. So what's up, guys? My name is Will. www.what'supinthesky.com. Sorry for the long space noob. Sorry for the phone calls, the words with friends going off here. You know how it goes. All right. So I got more anomalies videos coming up. Anomaly videos coming up. I've got the top 7 video that I want you to give to everybody. If you guys are still watching this, share that thing on Facebook. It's not going to be crazy. So, all right, guys. Much love to you. We got that, and then we got a couple other, all sorts of space news coming up. There's all sorts of stuff that's going to be happening in the next couple months. Like I said, we've got Maven, we've got the India mission to follow. So there's a lot to follow. You'll find it here. What's up in the sky 37. Peace.